Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports Classics. Tonight, we go back a quarter of a century to the year 2000 for an interview with former Executive Director of the Pawtucket Boys and Girls Club, Mike Pappas. Mike will reminisce about his 70 years at the Boys Club, from his childhood days in the 1930s through his managerial career from 1949 to 1990. The show is filled with classic photos during Mike's tenure at the club. Mike is no longer with us, but his wonderful storytelling lives on here in Good Sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this Good Sports Classic. Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports Memories. Tonight, we're going to reminisce with Mike Pappas. Mike served the Pawtucket Boys Club as the athletic director from 1949 to 1964, and as the club's executive director from 1964 to 1990. A career that spanned 6 decades. Tonight, Mike's going to go over and has brought along some classic photos from as early as 1930 of the Boys Club, and I'm sure he's going to bring back some great memories for any of us who went over and participated in any of the sports programs in the Boys Club from the 30s through about the 1970s. And so welcome. Glad to finally have you here, Mike, to Good Sports Memories.
Thank you very much, Bill, for having me. I know it's been a while, but thanks again for the invite. And
this will be fun.
Why? I'm sure it will
Bring back some memories.
Right.
Well, Mike, we're going to start with a classic photo of the Pawtucket Boys Club basketball court on East Avenue in the 1930s. What I want you to do is talk about the basketball programs that you participated in as a youth at the club throughout the 1930s and 40s.
Well, in the 30s, most teams at the Boys Club were neighborhood ethnic teams where we'd pick our own teams, fill out a contract, and bring it to the athletic director. In those days was Charlie Messier, and off we'd go. From the Pee Wee League all the way to the Bantam League.
Now, that photo is up on the screen there, Mike. Take a look at it.
Oh, yes.
Looks a little crowded here.
Oh, it was crowded. And you can't see it, but there was a net that separated the gym into two. And to the far right of the gym was basketball games going on in the Pee Wee League, where the baskets were on the wall. And on the other side of the net was that particular group. As you can see, it was very crowded, and an unstructured gym class.
Now, and they're very likely, if someone's around your age there, Mike, they may see themselves in this photo, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
'cause this was from the 1930s when you were a kid.
Yeah, probably. I'm one of the survivors.
Yeah. And so the basketball program was more neighborhood type of teams against each other?
Yeah. Well, in those days, ethnic groups settled the East Avenue.
Right?
Yeah, the East Avenue group with the Greek families. Pleasant Street with the Portuguese families. West Avenue and Pawtucket Avenue with the Irish and French families, and so forth. So naturally, we formed the teams with our own neighborhood guys and our own ethnic groups.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
we played against other ethnic groups. We had a great time, and it was just fun. And it was the only place to go. It was the only show in town, really. Where could you go in those days when you didn't have anything or have much to play with?
Yeah, and was basketball popular back in the 1930s when you were growing up, Mike?
Well, it was just starting to get into line, yes. Basketball was popular, but baseball, of course, was the most popular, yeah.
Sure. Now, Mike, the Boys Club was also a place that stressed academics. Now talk to our audience about the next photo we have coming on. It's a 1935 photo.
Well, that is a classic. I can remember that photo like it was yesterday. I happened to be in the photo. Along with me to the far left is John McCabe, who was a teacher at Samuel Slater Junior High and was a librarian 3 nights a week at the Boys Club. We did our homework. We had spelling bees. We had quizzes, and we learned how to borrow books, believe it or not. And in that photo, there's a quiz contest going on. Also to the left is John Asinos, Renee Champagne, my brother Ted sitting next to the table.
Yeah.
Nick McCrule is standing behind him, and Tatro, the big tall guy. Then Jimmy Strigas was sitting in front of him, and I'm in back of Jimmy.
Oh, yeah,
and my brother Billy is right in front of me to my left.
Yeah.
And also to the left is Peter Gouris, and the other guy was Earl Heavey. So I think I got them all.
Yeah, well, look at those socks that Earl had, right? And he had knickers on?
And notice the ties. We were wearing ties. We didn't have any money in those days, but we wore ties and the knickers and the socks.
Yeah.
You know.
And that was part of the Boys Club also. It wasn't just sports, although it was heavily flavored with sports. But
with the library program in the city of Pawtucket, it was a conjunction with that, and they worked with us, and they brought the novels and the books and so forth that we could borrow and so forth and so on. But it was in conjunction with the city library.
Yeah. Now baseball, you talked about baseball as being really the program there, and it's always been a staple of the Boys Club sports program. I know I played on the Boys Club League along with my cameraman Dick Taney in the 60s when we were playing inside McCoy Stadium with the Pee Wee A and Pee Wee Bs and the Bantams and Midgets. Describe for our Good Sports audience the program, not when we were kids, but when you were kids in the 30s and 40s. How was it? How was it going then?
Well, it wasn't much different. We formed our own ethnic neighborhood teams, and we had the East Avenue Sluggers, the Rinky Dinks, the Prospect Heights Combines, Woodlawn AC, from Cumberland, the Cumberland Clippers, and the Center Falls Townies. It encompassed the whole Blackstone Valley area.
Yeah.
Over 60 teams were in those leagues in those days.
Is that
But
right?
of course, there was no Little League.
Yeah.
That was the only show in town. If you didn't play Boys Club baseball, from a little kid all the way up, you didn't play in the summer structured baseball.
Yeah. And that would start right after school ended,
Right
is that
after
correct?
school, yes.
All right.
Yep.
And how about uniforms?
No
or hats?
uniforms. We formed our own teams.
Yeah.
We had one fella on the team who would put in the lineup and be like the manager, playing coach, if you will. And this is what we did.
Okay.
Pee Wee played in the morning. We had more than one Pee Wee league, obviously, with all that number of teams. We had Pee Wee A, Pee Wee B, and Pee Wee C, usually in the mornings, 6 to 11. Then in the afternoons, the Bantam League would play along with the Midget League. And in the evening, we had a senior league for boys up to 15 and 16 years old.
What were some of the fields that you played in that are no longer around anymore,
Okay,
Mike?
there's a Lorraine Field.
Where was that?
That was off Middle Spring Avenue behind the Lorraine Mills.
Okay.
Webster Street Field.
Okay.
Let me think. Macumber Stadium in Central Falls.
Was the old El Gasco Field?
Of course, that was the home.
That's Max Reed now.
Yeah, it's Max Reed now. El Gasco Field. We had the stadium annex in those days.
Because the stadium wasn't even built in the 30s, right?
No. There was a lot there where there was a swimming hole where the I'm sorry, I'm going ahead of myself. But where the stadium was, there was a little field that we used to use there.
Okay.
But the stadium, where the stadium is today, was called Harmon's Pond.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
And how about the old high school field where the
We played there
Blockbuster
too.
Rojacks is and
Right,
Armistice,
that's right too. We played there too. We used two fields down there.
Was there a field behind Tolman, the golf lots field?
That was used also. Yep. That's where they did their practicing for track and things of that nature, the Tolman High School.
Now, if you didn't have gloves, and in every, as you said, ethnic neighborhoods back there, you're in the Great Depressions. So how would the games go if I came down and I didn't have a glove? How would that work?
Well, if you were lucky enough to be playing a team that had some gloves, because we used to throw the gloves on the ground when you went into the bat, we'd pick up the glove and they'd let us use their gloves. But we shared.
Yeah. You'd be out in left field and drop your glove and the other guy would use it?
Yeah, sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, how about the umpires?
Okay, umpires. There was the dean of umpires. In my time when I was a kid.
30s and 40s.
Okay, Howard Slaney. These were staff people. Charlie Messier, Graham Norton, Jack Brady.
Really?
Yes. These were the people that really ran the baseball program. But Charlie Messier was the physical director or athletic director of the boys' club in those days.
Yeah, but and also with the umpires, they wouldn't stand behind the plate, right?
Very good.
I mean, that's something that you started a long time ago.
Right behind the pitcher. They'd be calling the game, and they'd have a scorebook, and also while they were calling the game, they would be keeping score.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, Mike, when I do the Blackstone Valley Memories for the Times, and when I go back to the 40s, I go over and see in the sports page that the actual articles about the specific games were not written by the Time staff people, but by the kids who actually played the game with the coaches.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that.
In fact, I'm glad you brought that up because I was with Roland Heeman, who grew up in the Blackstone Valley as a kid. I'm sure you know who Roland Heeman is. We can talk about him later. But
Well, and Roland Heeman is now the...
Roland Heeman currently is with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
As a general manager or in the
senior
hierarchy?
Senior vice president in charge of baseball operations.
Yeah, and he was a boys club grad, right?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah. And I can remember, I was telling him that I was reading an old scrapbook, and the byline was Roland Eamon, and it wasn't Roland, it was Peanuts Eamon. They used to call him Peanuts.
Oh, is
in
that
those
right?
days. Yeah, Peanuts Eamon. And his team had won it, because the team that won had to write the write-up.
Oh, is that how it worked?
Oh, yes, yes.
And you know, a lot of times they didn't use first names, and they'd always go over and you use lots of nicknames back then. And I didn't know whether it was intentional or what was that.
I think it was. They were nicknames.
Yeah.
You know, guys would be called different. Instead of their Mike, would be hey Mickey, or things of that nature. But I remember Roland in particular, and I remember reading the byline Peanuts Eamon. And I reminded him. He said, "Oh my God."
Now, Mike, also as one of the staple sports back in the 30s through about the 70s, I'd say boxing was real big at the Pawtucket Boys Club. Tell me two things. One, why was boxing a sport that was included in the Boys Club? And second, now the Pappas brothers did also pretty well in the competitions. Talk about that aspect also,
well,
Mike.
boxing was very popular in those days. You know, in order to create a name in the community or something, as you were growing, we didn't have much, but you know, if you were a boxer, you were the tough guy, and you got some respect in the neighborhood and in the city. And the big thing was, if you didn't win anything in the games room or in the gym or anywhere, the vocational classes, to go to the annual awards dinner, boxing was the last chance you had, because boxing was held during National Boys Club Week.
All right.
And that was the last formal function that you could enter to win a seat at the annual award dinner and get an award, okay? So, obviously...
The last grasp, huh?
The last grasp. There was my brother Ted, my brother Nick, my brother Alec, and myself all got involved in that boxing because we liked boxing, you know. We used to take lessons from, in those days, was Eddie Moore before Al Bailey. And...
now, who were some of the names that came out of it? Charlie Lagore, right?
Charlie Lagore, Jackie Weber, Bubba Gorgon, Lefty Fallon, George Simon. Oh, God, I could go on forever.
And also, from what I remember, with the boxing, it just wasn't within the boys' club. You would actually go over, and Al Bailey would take the kids and put on shows for the war veterans and the Kiwanis and quite a few. You traveled a bit, didn't you?
Oh, yes, we had... Well, again, the food was the key. Every time we'd go out to box, after the smoker or whatever it was, they would feed us.
Smoker, what do you mean smoker?
Well, they call them smokers, where they get people in there, watch the boxing shows and so forth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the food, tell me about the food.
Oh, the food was great. That's why we fought.
Oh, so that would
After
be the
the fight, you had
right?
a great meal.
Better meal than you'd have at home?
Oh, absolutely. You wouldn't have to go to Cherry Street and pick up the commodities in those days.
They wouldn't have to, Mrs. Pappas wouldn't have to worry about Mike and the boys, right? They'd be well fed that night.
Right.
And
But let me say this, and I say it because my brother Alec is no longer with us. He's the only one that isn't. But of the four brothers, he was probably the best boxer of all of us. He hurt his leg one day and he got osteomyelitis. And I think that stopped Alec from becoming a champ or a professional boxer.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now your boxing expertise at the Boys Club bore you well also. Now, after high school, you went off to World War II, right? In the Army, and you did well?
Yeah, I did pretty well. I was crowned the Fort Belvoir middleweight champ in those days in 1943.
Really?
Yeah, it was quite a thrill. And the reason I got involved in that, again, there's a reason. if you're on the boxing team in the Army or Navy or whatever it might be, you had free passes. You'd get the weekend off, or you'd get this or that, and you'd have time for training, and you wouldn't eat in the mess hall with everybody else. You'd eat after training and the whole bit. So there were a lot of perks.
To your end,
A lot of perks to be had, yes.
Yeah. Now, Mike, you graduated from Pawtucket West and then served your country in World War II. And after your return, you worked at Collier
Yes.
and played basketball for your employer in a league at the Boys Club. Now, we talked a little bit about the Boys Club League as a youth. How was that different now coming back and as an adult playing in the basketball leagues? How was that different?
Well, basketball, as you can visualize, but
Yeah, go ahead.
Industrial League was made up of mostly of returning veterans of World War II who had to go into the plants to go to work, or in my case, I was drafted into Collier.
Oh, really?
Yes, a friend of mine who was in charge of.
And here we are. This is a great photo, Mike. So tell me who's the handsome guy on the left, and then go from there.
Oh, that's Eddie Fogarty.
Yeah, sitting down. Next
to him is Chet Laston.
Yeah.
David Clank, Walter Zaromsky, Charlie Kolak, and myself.
And you're the one sitting down with the basketball?
Yeah, with my hand on the basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it just a six-man team that we had?
Well, that's all it was in the picture. No, we had a couple more guys, and our coach was Tony Ricos, who was an employee of Collier, and he ran the team.
Now, basketball at the Boys Club in the Industrial League, that was before TV was popular and everything else. So you'd have some, from what I heard, you had some pretty big crowds go over and watch you.
Well,
when would you play at the Boys Club?
We would play on, there were two divisions. We'd play one division on Monday evening and the other division on Sunday afternoons. There'd be 3 or 4 games on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah. All right.
There was Collier Wire, there was Sales Finishing, Pantex, J.P. Coates. All the mills had pretty much representation in the league.
Okay. And
Shaw Paper Box.
Yeah, Standard Romper,
Standard
Paula
Romper,
Silk,
you
right?
name it, they were all there.
Now, how about some
Blackstone Valley Electric.
How about some of the players? I mean, who were some of the players in the 40s and 50s that you remember playing against?
Okay, there was Tom Whipple, Mike Webb. Tom played with Sales Finishing. Mike Webb played with Blackstone Valley Electric. Bobby Brown played for J.P. Coates. Ernie Calverley played, I remember, with Pantex.
Was that after you arrived?
After the war. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who else played?
George Patrick?
George, of course. No, George didn't play the Industrial League.
No?
No, George not. I don't think George wasn't working in a factory or anything. I think he was at the auditorium at that time.
Okay.
So we had a number of pretty good basketball players.
Now, referees, you actually had two of the baseball umpires come back during the off season and referee the games. Is that true?
Well, you had Hank Saw refereed some, Jim Duffy refereed some, Wilson Foley refereed some. Again, Jack Brady refereed some. The principal of who became the principal of East High, Jim McGill, refereed some.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so, was that where Jim Duffy got the start? Because Jim Duffy, Pawtucket native resident, later went on was an NBA referee.
Yes.
Is that where you got to start in the Boys
Well, I don't
Club?
know if he got to start there, but he certainly refereed in the NBA.
Huh? Yeah. Now, Mike, you played on the 1949 Pawtucket Hobos basketball team, which captured the New England AAU crown. Talk about your experience playing for the Hobos, and we've already done a show with Mike Webb and George Patrick Duffy talking about that. But I'd like to get your perspective on all that.
Well, there were a number of hobo teams, really. Yeah. The first one that George put together, George Duffy was the big man, if you will, the promoter.
The originator. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy. He's a legend, as you know, and alge will be a legend in this
sports icon in Pawtucket.
Yes, sir. You better believe it. Well, he put a team together with Mike Webb, Jimmy Saborin, George Hanna, Tommy Weatherspoon, to name a few. And later on, they went their way. But the team that won the New England AAU, there were 7 of us went to Pittsfield, Mass. To play in this AAU tournament. There was Buster Mills, who was a teacher at, was it Jenks? Yeah, Jenks Junior High. He was the athletic guy there. And he was our player coach when we went to Pittsfield to play. There was George Duffy, Bob Caveney, Joe Montero, Tom Whipple, Ray McCarthy, and myself. And we had along, as our mascot was Bobby LaFavor. He was just about 13 years old at the time.
Yeah. And there was something very unique about the Hobos. I mean, you were called the Hobos,
yes.
but what?
Well, we came out on the floor to warm up in top hats and tails that had patches on them. And then when we took those off to play, we had they were like prison garb uniforms.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
George Patrick, just a showman as always. Huh?
George knew what to do to attract. Yeah. And believe it or not, in that tournament, we attracted a lot of people. They tell me they were the biggest crowds ever at the Pittsfield. They played at the Boys Club in Pittsfield.
Yeah.
In those days, the AAU, and we defeated a team from North Adams, Mass, college all-stars.
Did you?
Yeah, and the outstanding player of that tournament was Joe Montero.
And
Joe had a lot of talent, you know. He was not only a baseball player, a baseball player, but a heck of a basketball
athlete,
player,
wasn't he?
Track star, you name it, the whole thing.
He could do it all.
He could do it all.
Yeah, and so that was it a close game? You guys came out of nowhere. Did you guys come out of nowhere when you went into the tournament? Were you known as a team, a contender?
Not really. Not really.
So they saw these guys from
Pawtucket. We won
from
Rhode Island and went up there and played in that tournament, and we were there for a whole weekend. We played 3 games to win the title. Yeah. But it was fun. They put us up in homes and so forth. We had a great time.
And were the Hobos?
I don't know how my wife put up with it, but she did.
Were the Hobos sponsored by the Boys Club? Or were they just all former grads?
No. Mostly. George Duffy took care of everything.
Oh, did he?
But the auditorium had a little to do with it. Rhode Island Auditorium. Mr. Peary, he was probably our sponsor.
Neat story. Yeah. Now, Mike, you replaced Ray McCarthy, who was a teammate of yours on the Hobos, as the director of athletics at the Boys Club in 1949. I guess maybe a dream for you that you always wanted to move on as a kid. It really did you well.
It happened by accident, really.
Did it really?
Yeah. After 3 years at Collier Wire, there was a layoff, and naturally I didn't have any seniority.
Yeah.
And we were the first to go, and I went down to the club one day, and I just happened to be talking to Mr. Geiger, Phil Geiger, who was the executive director, and what a guy he was. And he said, Mike, there might be an opening here. He said, don't worry about, getting a job. And I was going to get married in September, and here it was May, and I'm out of a job. So anyway, he said to me, would you be interested in running our phys ed program? Because I did some of that in the Army.
Okay.
I got discharged in phys ed. And I said, well, let's talk about it. So we did, and I took the job, and the rest is history. Yeah. I've been there ever since.
Now, Mike, soon after you took the job, you went over and took a look at the baseball program. It started faltering a little bit during World War II and everything else, and you re-energized that program and turned it into a program that Dick Taney and I played in the 60s that was just very special. Talk about what you did to turn around that program.
Well, that's a very unique story. I grew up with George Patrick Duffy, and we've been great friends for many, many years, and still are for that matter. And as you know, he volunteers at the club. He runs the RBI, coaches the team.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. In fact, he's on our 100th anniversary committee. Yeah. He's done a great job. He just finished promoting the Hall of Fame things and so forth. But George came to me one day, and we're just talking about it. I said, George, I don't know how to get this baseball thing started. I said, it's going way down from the days that we played in it. He said, you're right. He said, let me think about it. So he came back, and he said to me one day, he said, look, why don't we get someone to get us to pay for a trip to the World Series? I said, George, come on. How can this be? No tickets, no nothing.
Yeah.
We have no connections. He says, oh, yes, we have. So we went to Hank Saw, told Hank the story, and sure enough, old Hank, who was an alumnus of the club, grew up at the Boys Club, and still he's on the board of directors and has been for many years. And this is how that World Series thing got started. Yeah. And it's been going ever since.
And here's a picture of you and Hank, right?
The city paid for the trip. Jim Pullum was the recreation director there then. After that, and now for the last 10 years, the Pawtucket Red Sox have picked up the tab, and they send those kids to the World Series every year. Again, the poor Sox do so much that don't get enough credit for it. Yeah. But I'm sure they don't want any credit, but this is what they do for kids.
Sure. And then, so you still kept the concept of the neighborhood teams, but now you combined it also, besides the Red Sox, prior to the Red Sox, it was the city of Pawtucket, and Mr. Poulin, was
Jim
that his
Poulin.
name? Yep, who went over and,
P-U-L-L-A-N. He was the recreation director.
all right, and you sort of pooled together.
Well, yeah, he was having trouble in the playgrounds. You know, he ran the playgrounds and everything. The kids were playing baseball there with a hard ball, breaking windows, abutting neighbors and so forth and so on. So that's how we got together. How do we solve that problem? And we did. They got the fields. They gave transportation. We picked up kids and took them to the field by the bus. I hired the staff, and the club took care of that. I was in charge of the thing, and the club took care of me. And that's that. And the city, as I mentioned earlier, picked up the tab for the World Series trip.
Yeah. And to this day, right now, we're still, in fact, on July 10th, as part of the 100th anniversary, the Pawtucket Boys and Girls Club / Pawtucket Recreation Department Baseball League will be starting again. I think it's the
51 years.
51 years. Last year was 50 years. They gave us a nice little plaque at Parks and Recreation, and so the city of Pawtucket is still going over and working with you guys.
Without the city, not because you're involved, but even before you were involved,
Many
was
years
always,
before I was involved.
It was always there, and the city was always behind that program, and so forth and so on.
Yeah. Now, Mike, in addition to the World Series, the Boys Club offered a trip to Braves Field when it was the Boston Braves, and later Fenway Park, to all the midget division players. But that stopped. That practice stopped after a while. You got a cute story. Tell us about that.
That was a nightmare. We used to take every kid that played baseball that wanted to go to a Braves Field, or later, when they moved out to Fenway Park, was the Knothole Gang, they used to call it.
The Knothole
Gang?
Yeah.
Everybody went out and sat in right field.
Yeah. Now, we've got a shot here, Mike. What is this?
That's Fenway Park with a pitcher by the name of Sullivan.
Yeah.
Yep, and let's see, I can pick up a couple of kids. There's Theophanis Constantinos. There's Phil Ayub in the background there, and a few other kids that names. Oh, some of the. I just can't remember all those names.
And this was from the 1950s. This was a special treat for the kids. But so what happened with this practice that you used to do?
The what?
So what happened with this? Now they no longer go over
with
and
that
send
practice.
the kids off, right? Yeah.
No, it got so difficult that we'd sit in right field. You can't. The attention span of kids just doesn't last. They'd watch an inning or two, and that was it. They'd be all over the field. The game was over. You'd be trying to hunt them up, find them. We had lost kids. It's just a nightmare, really. So I went back to the club one day, and I said to Mr. Geiger, no more of this. We're only going to take the champions. Okay. So sure enough, we just took the champions from then on.
Yeah. Now, and so you've got a cute story about one of your baseball umpires back in probably the 80s, I guess it would be, or 70s, Zeb Savoy.
Oh, Zeb Savoy, class by himself.
Yes, he is a character. Yeah.
Well, I used to go around and check the fields to see if everything was all right, if there were any broken bats, because I'd had a couple in the car with me, or any baseballs that got lost. And I looked, and I didn't see the umpire behind the pitcher.
And where was this?
This was at the
McCoy Annex?
McCoy Annex. And behind the backstop, there was a car just parked there, and I didn't pay any attention to it. So I asked a couple of the young kids there, I said, where's the umpire? Oh, he's here. I said, where? They said, oh, he's here. He's sitting in a car behind the backstop. So I went over there, and I said, Zeb, what are you doing? He says, I'm umpiring, Mr. Pappas, and I'm doing a good job. I said, what do you mean you're umpiring? He says, I blow the horn once, it's a strike. I blow the horn twice, it's a ball. 3 times and they're out. I said, oh, my God. I always tell him about that. I see him quite often now. That was a classic.
Oh, I would say
so.
So.
He was something.
Yeah. And so, Mike, let's pick up right where we left off.
Fine.
And now the baseball season, it always culminated with a banquet honoring each division champ, and there was always a major league player as a guest of honor. We have 5 classic photos from the 1960s that depict the award ceremonies. I'm going to put up the first one. Let's talk about the first one, and we can go on from there. And the first one, I think, has...
let's see, Chet Nichols on the left.
Yeah.
Dick Raditz. And Johnny Gorel on the far right.
All right, and this is October of 1964, and we're going to be showing this right here. Again, so we have presenting the photo, presenting the trophy is who now, Mike? Say this again.
Presenting the trophy to the youngster is Chet Nichols.
Yeah.
And to his left is Dick Raditz.
The monster.
Yeah, right. And to his left is Johnny Gorel, another local boy that made it big. 3
big-time, and are all 3 of those... Three of those guys, were they all part of the boys club too?
No, Dick Raditz was a friend of Chet's,
of course,
played together with the Chet with the Boston Red Sox, and Chet brought him down along as a treat to the people who attended the annual awards dinner.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, how would you get the Red Sox players? Was that, again, your Hank Saw connection, or?
Absolutely.
Was it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what did that mean to the kids going
Oh,
over
God,
to
that
this,
was a big thrill for them to see
was
these
it?
major league ball players coming to the annual awards dinner, walking in that gym upstairs. Oh, there's a classic.
All right.
Sparky Lyle.
Well, hold on. Let's go over
Okay.
and get the photo up first. And
Okay.
so this one, I'm not quite sure. Again, this is another 60 photo. So who do we have starting right over here, Mike?
That's Sparky Lyle.
And when he was pitching for the Red Sox,
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. And next to him is a young boy by the name of McGrath. I forget, it might have been Billy McGrath.
Or is that Jack McCabe?
You're right, it is Jack McCabe.
Right.
That is Jackie McCabe.
Who is
yes.
now the principal over
Right,
at Curtis School
right,
in Pawtucket.
right.
Yeah, great
I'm glad you
swimmer for the
corrected
boys
me on
club.
that one.
Yeah, and next to
him is Lee Stang.
Okay. Who was a pitcher for the Red Sox
Right.
back then.
Yeah, and Hank Saw, American League umpire at the time, who was responsible for these people getting there. And of course, the Emmett Ashford, who was a great dinner speaker.
Was he?
After dinner speaker, yes. He was the first black umpire in baseball, and he worked with Hank and Hank's crew. So.
And who's next to him sitting down the other
Emmett
side?
Ashford, it was the president of the Boys Club, Dr. Gary Papero, and Roy Culp was the
Ray Culp.
Ray Culp next to him.
The very end,
Yeah, yeah.
What a diet, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez. And so, talk a little bit about what Hank Saw meant to the boys' club.
Oh God! If it wasn't for Hank doing the things that he did for the club, with it, while he was in sports, and especially as an umpire, we would never have had the. We've had some tremendous big names. We had Brooks Robinson, Boog Powell, people like that who attended through the graces of Hank Saw.
Yeah. And Hank never forgot his roots, did he?
No, never. No, he's still involved.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No. He's a great man.
In
He
the off
really
season,
is.
he was still at the club.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now we've got a photo coming up of a manager of the Boston Red Sox who had a great claim to fame.
Yep, that's Dick Williams.
Yep.
1967, Impossible Dream.
Impossible Dream. Now was that after? Now how many years did he manage? He only managed 1 year, didn't he?
Oh no, I think he was there at least 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3
Yeah,
years?
Yeah.
So this is probably after the Impossible Dream
yeah,
there. And then later on, Mike, you had the opportunity to catch up with Mr. Williams, right?
We met old acquaintances again. This is at the
1985.
85 Detroit San Diego World Series.
Yeah.
And we're on the field, and we went over and chatted for a while, and we had our picture taken together. And great guy.
Yeah, and that was the first one as Parks and Recreation Director that I went over and accompanied one of the World Series. That was my first World Series that I went with,
okay.
Frank LaLiberty and I.
Oh, yes.
We brought 3 kids, and that's when they won in 5 games. And we left when we left the field, they were rioting outside.
You remember that?
Tiger Stadium was not in the best of neighborhoods.
No,
And
no.
the kids were looking. There were police cars on fire to the right, and we're just sort of walking across the way. And
It was
inside, we were actually able to go onto the field
It
after
was
the
frightening,
game.
really, to get out of that ballpark.
It was a very memorable
was
time.
frightening.
It really was.
It sure was.
And now we've got another one coming up. And again, this is, some great names came over here. And this was 1967 for the awards dinner.
I'm gonna
and let's start with this gentleman right over here,
That one I don't know.
Barry McCoy.
Oh, is that Barry McCoy?
I only say that because you got the names in the back of the
okay.
photo, right? And
next
then
to him is Reggie Smith.
great center fielder for the
great,
Red Sox.
Great center fielder.
And
Next to him was
Bruce DePadua.
Bruce DePadua. Next to him is pitcher Lee Stang again.
Yeah.
Next to him, you got me.
Bill Shea.
Okay, and next to him was a fellow that went on to pitch a one-hitter in his first start at Yankee Stadium right after that awards dinner.
This was
Billy Raw.
This was April 12th, 1967.
Right.
And then he went off to Yankee Stadium shortly thereafter, Mike?
Yeah. 2 days later, he
Is that
pitched.
right?
In fact, I was taking he and Reggie back to Boston in the automobile, and he was quite nervous about pitching against the Yankees, his first start as a Red Sox pitcher.
Yeah. And he had a one-hitter going into
One
the
hit
ninth,
at the
right?
bottom of the ninth. Do you remember who that one? Do you remember the fellow that broke up the hitter?
Elston Howard.
Elston Howard.
Who would later go over and be the catcher for the same year.
Absolutely.
For the Impossible
Good
Dream,
memory,
right?
Bill.
Yeah, well, that was during I was 13, 14, so, I was a big Boston Red Sox fan, and I'm sure you see anyone my age who's a Red Sox fan, they remember those memorable moments.
Yeah.
It certainly was. And we've got one more of these during the 1960s and 70s.
Okay.
That we have
Bob Montgomery, standing at the mic.
Yeah.
Bill Hardy, I think he was acting mayor at the time.
Yeah, probably
And
so.
next to him was the president, Allie Chatterton. And next to him was a great goaltender for the Rhode Island Reds and, of course, the Boston Bruins, Ross Brooks.
All right. I mean, and those were, in fact, I attended one probably 1965. I can't remember who the person was, but I mean, it was a highlight. I played on the 9 Aces with Georgia Cermley, Gerarda Cermley, Brian Randall, and Eddie Quinn and those guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, to this day, 35, 40 years ago, it was something I remember so vividly. It was just a great experience, Mike. You know, that, and who went over and decided that would be the way to go? That wasn't always the way that you had the sports figures coming in at the end, or when did that start?
Well, that started, I think, way back. In the old days, they tell me that Frank Crook, who had the dealership in Pawtucket, automobile dealership, was a season ticket holder at Fenway Park, and he had some connection somewhere along the line. I can remember as a young kid, of course that's much later, that's when I was on the staff.
Sure.
I remember Pinky Higgins, Jimmy Fox.
Really?
Oh yes, walking up to the TK Club with him right after the annual awards dinner.
Oh, I didn't know it.
Oh yeah, I still have those. I still have memories of those things on paper.
Really?
Oh yes.
What a great thought. We have another classic photo here. I love this photo here. Tell our audience a story about each of the men that we see in this picture.
Well, that was after the war, and as I indicated early in the show, that Mr. Geiger wanted to send out a postcard.
Let's keep this photo up for a while.
And he thought that let's do this with 4 guys who came through the Boys Club as kids, and here they are now on the staff and really connected with the Boys Club. And
so we have right here, who's this handsome guy?
Yeah, that's
Golden Greek, right?
The old guy is Golden
Mike Pappas, all right. And who's next to you, Mike?
Another great friend, we miss him so terribly, Max Serkant, a great pitcher for the Boston Braves and later with Milwaukee. And of course, he pitched in the American League with the Chicago White Sox and had a great career in baseball that spanned, I think, about 15 years.
Yeah, and he actually had a major league record at one point in time.
8 consecutive strikeouts.
To start the game, was it? Or sometime during the course?
No, sometime during 8 consecutive strikeouts.
Yeah, and he was a Boys Club grad?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He played in the Boys Club League.
Did he?
Yes.
All right.
Signed a pro contract at the age of 15.
Yeah, and let's put this photo up one more time, if you wouldn't mind. And next to him is?
Of course, Hank Saw.
Yeah.
I hope people remember him not only as an umpire, but as a great football player for the New York Football Giants.
Okay.
And next to him was Andy Diamond, the aquatic director. And Andy was a great swimmer in his own right. He swam during the war for General Eisenhower's team against some of the greatest swimmers of the world.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. And you've got a Hank Saw story with you and Walt Dropo and
Ed Kenny.
Yes. Yeah. Tell that story about that.
Well,
go ahead.
We went out one night to go to dinner and so forth, and I ordered a beer, and Walt Dropo ordered a beer. Eddie ordered a beer, and of course Hank had a Coke. Hank never touched the hot stuff or the beers.
And how old were you then?
I was 18.
Okay.
Dropo was 19. So he said to the waitress, "No way is he going to have a beer. Bring him a Coke."
And who's he talking to?
He's talking to the waitress about me. I can't have a Coke. So I turned around and I said, "Hank, how come Dropo can have a beer?" He said, "Mike, he's 6'5" and weighs 220. He can have anything he wants." But Hank never backed away from anybody. I don't care how big they were.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, Hank wasn't intimidated by anyone. That's a classic story.
But I always got a kick out of that.
Yeah, so you ended up with a Coke, and Dropo ended
obviously.
up with And Dropo, he was a big time ball player for the Red Sox.
Well,
wasn't
Dropo played with the Red Sox. Sure, he was a great home run hitter.
Yeah.
He came from Moosop, Connecticut.
Yeah. So was that a
played at the University of Connecticut. And later went into the big leagues.
Yeah. Was that a special time for you to be among those guys?
Yeah. But whoever thought that, with a fellow who was going to be a great baseball player and like Walt Dropo.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Mike,
and Ed Kenny, of course, moved on with the Red Sox as vice president and in charge of minor league operations.
Yeah, he's always been a big name.
Yeah.
And was he a local guy?
Oh, he's from Boston.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Now, Mike, you've had the honor to personally know some of the sports legends of Pawtucket and the Boston Red Sox. Now, I'm going to give you a name, and I want you to tell the story. Ted Williams.
Of Great guy.
We got a great photo of you and Ted Williams.
Oh, great
All
guy.
right, give me a Ted Williams story with Mike Pappas.
Real classic is I got a call from Ed Kenny one day that Ted was coming down to see the Pawtucket Red Sox play and look over some kids. And he said, is there a chance that we can play golf tomorrow morning?
Yeah. And where's this photo, Mike, that we're seeing?
That photo there
Yeah.
was taken at Winter Haven.
And with
Spring training.
Yeah, with Ted still in uniform, too,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, he was a batting instructor. He was,
he?
giving the youngsters tips on how to hit. Who else could teach them how to hit?
All right, so you're with Ted Williams.
Right.
Go ahead, tell the story.
And he said that Lee Stang was going to be playing with us, and if I could arrange it, the next day, I said, sure, we'll play my course. We'll play Pawtucket Country Club. So I picked up the phone and I called the pro there, who was Les Kennedy at the time. Well, he went ape. He says, Ted's coming here tomorrow? I said, yeah, don't tell anybody. He said, okay. So I called my son-in-law, because Ted had nothing with him, who was vacationing in Maine, and I said, what size shoe do you wear? Golf shoe. He says, why? I said, well, I need them tomorrow morning. He said, who's going to wear them? I said, Ted Williams. Complete silence. And then when he came back, he says, have them bronzed. Well, at any rate. And then he used Bill Hardy, who was a left-hander, Bill Hardy's clubs. I asked
When
Bill.
was this, Mike? What year would
This
you
is
say?
in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
And
So you
but
Bill
the
Holly's
story,
clubs, yep.
yeah, but the story goes that we're out there playing, and I'm riding with Lee Stang, and Ted is riding with Ed Kenny. And Ted was moving the ball, to get a nice lie and hit it off the fairway. So we're going down to the 10th fairway, and I said to Lee, I'm going to call him out. He says, you haven't got the guts. I said, I haven't. So anyway, we get on the 10th putting green. He putts out. He says, he had a stroke on that hole. He says, I got 5 for 4. I said, you're out of the hole. He says, what do you mean I'm out of the hole? I said, you've been moving that ball all over the place. I said, you're not supposed to touch that ball. He says, Pappas, let me tell you something. I never hit anything that wasn't moving. I thought that was, and I told
What a great line, huh?
Without even blinking an eye, bing, he came right out with it.
And he's a good friend of yours, isn't he, Mike?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's a great guy. He stayed at the club all afternoon, and he mingled with everybody, socialized with everybody. Yeah. And I can remember one nice thing he did. He called Judge Powers. He went over and got Judge Powers' number, and he called him right from the pay station right there at the country club.
Is that right?
Just to say hello to him.
Yeah. Roland Heeman.
Roland Heeman, another boys club grad, went on to become vice president and general manager of the Chicago White Sox, and later the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yard, and is now affiliated with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
We talked about, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Well, I went to the annual convention in San Francisco, the Boys Club convention, and it was a Saturday. I got there a day early, and figured I'd kill some time. I loved baseball. I'd never been to Comiskey Park, so I'd go over and watch the White Sox play. They were playing Detroit.
Yeah.
I paid my way in and got a nice seat, and I was going to watch batting practice. I got there very early, and the ushers, I noticed, had walkie-talkies, and I asked them if they run into Roland Heeman to let him know there's a friend of his sitting down here. Well, lo and behold, 10 minutes, Roland's down where I'm sitting, and he says, oh, my God, what are you doing here? I said, I came to see the White Sox play. He says, and how did you get in? I says, I paid. You're not drawing. They weren't drawing flies in those days. He said, oh, my God, nobody ever paid to come into the ballpark here since I've been here, he says, especially from Rhode Island. So he says, come on upstairs and we'll have some lunch. And I went with him, and I went up there and had lunch. And as we're having lunch, some people were coming by, and there was the announcer was Harry Carey, and he walked by, and
A legend, right?
oh, a real legend.
Okay.
And not only in baseball, basketball, he did some announcing in basketball.
St. Louis Hawks?
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
And he came over and he introduced me to him, and I said, gee, Harry, I've met you before. He says, where? I said, at the old Rhode Island Auditorium. You were doing the St. Louis Hawks basketball game against the Boston Celtics. He said, oh, my God. I says, and I kept some stats for you, and you gave me $25. I thought it was like $25 million. I said, but the biggest thrill was sitting next to the great Harry Carey. I said, I thought I'd tell you about that. So that was a nice story. Yeah.
Yeah. How about Johnny Gorel?
Johnny Gorel.
Yep.
Well, Johnny played in the Boys Club League. I remember Johnny walking from Cumberland along the tracks to play at the Lorraine Field. Of course, great infielder, became a third baseman, played baseball for the Chicago Cubs and so forth and so on.
Yeah, and in this photo, what do we see here? We see the
we
dapper
see-
Golden Greek again.
Yeah, and Johnny Gorel and Mike Keenan. We went up to see Johnny when he became the manager of the Minnesota Twins, and just to talk to him about arranging a date, and we were going to give him a time here in Rhode Island. That's why we were there, and we had that picture taken.
Okay, and so and now Johnny Gorel, I mean, he was an outstanding high school ball player and was drafted out of Cumberland into what organization?
I don't
Where did he
remember what
start?
organization, no. No.
Did he ever play? He played Major League Ball, didn't he, Mike?
Oh, God, yes. Played with the Cubs.
Did he?
Oh, he played, with Ernie Banks.
Oh, I didn't know
Same
that.
team. Oh, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
How
He
about
played with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chet Nichols. You
Chet
got a Chet Nichols story?
Well, the first baseball I ever got, Major League Baseball, was after the war. We went up to see Chet pitch in Boston when he was with the Braves. And boy, when he saw us, he came over. You know, he was on the field. And gave me my first baseball.
Is that right?
Yep. And I still have it at home.
Armin Lamentang, someone we had up on, we had the show, we did a half-hour show on Armin in February. Great man, and also what people don't realize is he was an outstanding athlete, too,
he
before
sure
he got
was.
into
He sure
his
was.
sculpting.
The thing that I remember mostly about Armin, he was a big boy at the age of 15.
He was
and so forth.
6'2", 200
He
as
was
a
a big
freshman
guy.
at Pawtucket Vogue.
Yeah. Do you know he hit one out of McCoy Stadium when the fences were back when he played for Vogue?
Is that right?
Right over the fence.
You remember that?
I remember that.
right.
Yes, he's a great friend, as you know.
Yeah, he's been a
Played
great
in the
friend of the
Scub
Boys
League.
Club, too,
Yes,
right?
Yep. He's on the board now, and we go on a few trips together. In fact, in February we went down to see Ted Williams hit his Hall of Fame together, and had a great weekend.
Yeah. Now I went. You invited me over to your house a couple of days ago before for the show. I went down into your shrine down in the cellar, and you've got some neat artifacts from Armin.
Oh,
And
yes.
Talk a little bit about that. What
Well,
did he do for you?
Armin's been very good to me. Everything that he does, the lithographs of everybody that he's done, from Ted Williams to
Larry
Yastrzemski,
Bird.
Larry Bird, Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
I've got lithographs of those signed by Armin and some of the celebrities. I've got pictures of Dewey Evans. That he's also a great artist that people probably don't realize.
Right.
Aside from being one of the greatest sculptors of the world, I think, in sports figures and other things.
Yeah.
But yes, so you're right. I've got puck made of wood that you would never believe it was made of wood unless you really picked it up and handled it.
Yeah, you showed it to me.
I got a bat from the wood. See, he said the wood that was left over from the statues that he did, he'd make into the little thing. I got a bat signed by Yastrzemski and Armin.
That's special, Mike.
Oh, those are special things.
Yeah. And
From a special guy.
And the last one I want you to talk about is, we've already mentioned him a couple of times, the sports icon of the city of Pawtucket, George Patrick Duffy. You got a George Patrick Duffy story?
Oh, yeah, I got a good one for George. You know, when we were playing with the Hobos, we also were in a Rhode Island semi-pro league. There was Newport.
Basketball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was Newport, Westerly, Providence, the Agmax Providence. And we were going to play down in Newport one night, and George was at the auditorium. We were going to meet him there and get in his car and go down there. And he asked Ted McConnell to come down and play with us that day. And it was a winter night, ice on the roads. And if you ever drove with George,
I've heard stories.
well,
Chuck Scherzer was on
I
talking
looked in the
about
back,
one time.
and Ted McConnell is saying, I don't know how many Hail Marys to play. He was praying that we get there safe. That was the last time we saw Ted McConnell play with the Hobos. But anyway, George was something. He never missed a game, though. He got there on time.
Oh, I bet he did.
And all the trips that he used to make to Hershey and all the cities when he was doing broadcasting for the Reds, he went by automobile.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, went by automobile.
And drove some of the buses for the Rhode Island Reds. And I remember Chuck Scherzer saying,
There's only one George. You know, one thing about George, though, you know, he's helped so many people along the way when he was at the auditorium. We all worked part-time in the evening, after hours, setting up things like the ice capades, the roller derbies and all those things set up, you know, and we'd get paid for it.
Sure.
Things were tough, and we were just, you know.
He always looked after his own people.
But he
around
helped
the
so
city.
many people along the way, and a
Absolutely.
great guy. And like you said, we said earlier, a great legend in this.
Now, Mike, who were some of the people who helped the Boys Club during your tenure at the Boys Club?
Well, you know, I wrote some names down so I wouldn't forget them, and because I am going to be 75 in a few.
Hard to believe, Michael.
And well, you know, the dean of umpires is a fellow named Rufus Gallagher.
Okay.
Rufus Gallagher. He was an old man who loved to umpire and teach kids. He'd stop the game in the middle of the game and tell the kid how to field the ball. He was a great guy.
Yep.
And there was my brother Billy umpired, my brother Billy, and Mike Trodden, Vic Ventura, who came through the club and was a good athlete in his own right. He umpired. He worked for us. Bruce Hallsworth, Zeb, of course, Zeb Savoy, Mike Ryan, who worked with me in the gym when I was the athletic director. And then there were a lot of kids that came through the club who just did everything at the boys club. The Suggs boys, Don and Jerry. Then the Addison brothers, Alan and Eddie, Sugar as we called them. The Spivers, Leroy, Popper, Joe and Clarence. And the Malucci's, Tony Malucci and Frankie Malucci. Frankie's still around, plays in every golf tournament, charity golf tournament in the state.
Yeah.
A wonderful guy. He swims at the club in the morning. Still connected. The connection is still there. Their roots are still there, and just great people.
The people I talk to who grew up through the Boys Club, Mike, always have fond remembrances of their time there. And they always said, you know, part of who they are and the people that they are was attributed to the Boys Club and their parents and the rest. But the Boys Club had a very big impact on many people here in the city of Pawtucket. We've got something coming up now that every one of my guests who has one of these, and there's not many, Mike, I always have to show it off. And you have an original Frank Lanning.
Right.
And we always go over and show up that. How special is this to you, Mike? And when did he do this?
When did he do that? He did that in 1977. I was given a 25th anniversary party of my tenure at the Boys Club at the Venus with 1,000 people in attendance.
Wow.
And they gave me a lot of gifts that night, but there's one that I'll cherish until I go to the grave. Not many people have an original Frank Lanning, and gee, what a thrill it was for me to be presented that evening.
I bet.
Great thrill.
Yeah, I love
and a great guy.
I love the Frank Lannings. And he just passed away recently,
well, a number of years ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he passed away a number of years ago, yeah.
All right. Yeah. And Mike, what we're going to talk a little bit about now, not Boys Club, but besides the Boys Club, and we only have maybe about 4 or 5 minutes left. In addition, you were also the public address announcer for the Pawtucket Indians and the Pawtucket Red Sox home games.
Yes,
right?
I was. Yep.
And we've got a nice collage that you put together when you did a little speaking engagement recently.
Yeah.
How was that? Talk about being, doing the PA, announcing the rest.
That was a great thing for me. It relaxed me after work. I'd go up in the press box with guys like Ted Mulcahy and some of the sports writers.
Alex, if you can get each of the teams and just go from one to the other. Go ahead, Mike.
The far left is the Pawtucket Slaters, who were a farm team of the Boston Braves.
Which one are we looking at now,
The
Mike?
far left, the
TV.
upper far left.
No, look in the TV, Mike.
Oh, in the TV.
Yeah.
That's the one right there.
Okay, that one there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next one to that, where are we now? The next one is the Pawtucket Indians in 1968.
Okay.
That's my first job as the public address announcer was there. And then the other one on the bottom, that's a picture that when Joe Busis owned the Pawtucket Red Sox AA ball, he came here with AA ball with Carlton Fisk and those guys.
Before Ben Mondor.
Before Ben Mondor, yes. And you can see Chet Nichols there, Ray Larson, Hank Soar, a number of people, Max Serkant, just a number of people sitting there with Joe Dragon, sitting with Joe Busis, going over some plans to sell some season tickets.
All right, and go and hit
to
the
the
last
far
one.
right, that was many thrills of my life, but this is one that I cherish also. Was the Pawtucket Red Sox winning the 1973 Junior World Series. We played Tulsa, Oklahoma, and defeated them 4-1. And I did a couple of those games back home with Neil Bennett, who was the general manager then. We did play-by-play.
Really?
That
on the
was,
radio?
Yes, that
You
was
were the color
radio.
man?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I did some play-by-play, and that was what a thrill that was. My first one.
And now this team had Rice and Lynn,
God,
right? The
we
Gold
had
Dust twins, right?
Rice, Lynn, Rick Burleson, Juan Beniquez, Vic Carell, Cooper, Lynn McLaughlin. God, it was just unbelievable. What a team that was. Yeah. And of course, they went up to the big leagues the following year.
We're running a little short in time. I still want to show this photo here because this is, a photo of you, and right now, at least, the all-time home run leader. We don't know what McGuire's going to do over the next 4 or 5 years, but you and Hank Aaron.
The great Hank Aaron. Yes, I'm introducing Hank Aaron in the 1977 game between the International League All-Stars and the Boston Red Sox.
At McCoy Stadium.
At McCoy Stadium. He was there, and he was about to say a few words, and I introduced the great Hank Aaron.
Yeah. Now, Mike, we have less than a minute left. I told you it would fly by, and it's been wonderful. It really has been. Of all the many varied sports experiences you've had in your life, and you've had more than most people would have in 5 lifetimes, what's your most memorable sports experience in 30 seconds or less?
Okay, memorable that I will cherish forever till I really leave this great world. But I think playing 18 holes of golf and then going out to dinner with a great legend of baseball, the greatest hitter of all times, Ted Williams. In fact, the whole course stopped there. They heard that Pappas had Ted Williams out there playing golf, and the carts were coming out like
Is that right? And he doesn't like a lot of publicity,
like trains,
right?
huh?
He doesn't like a lot of publicity.
No, he didn't, but he was very gracious.
Was he?
He signed for everybody, came into the clubhouse later, we had a few drinks, then we went out to dinner, and my son Greg joined us for dinner that night, and he was in awe all night long.
What a great memory, Mike.
Oh, God, yes.
Well, that was wonderful. I mean, 1 hour of Mike Pappas just going over and articulating all the great stories you have. That brought back many memories. And thank you for sharing your memories of the last 20 years of playing and working at the Pawtucket Boys Club.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And let me tell you this, I enjoyed this evening with you, and I'll cherish that for a long time, too. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome, Mike. It was a pleasure having you here. On the next Good Sports Memories, we're hoping, we haven't gone over and quite set this up yet, but we're hoping that we're going to reminisce with Lance Langborg and some of the members of his 1966 Fairlawn Little League All-Stars that won the state crown there, and talk about that experience. And that will be happening sometime in late July. Hopefully we can put that one together. So I'm Bill Mulholland for Good Sports Memories. Good night.